Hello, 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 welcome back to Hunter Tune. Today we are going to be tuning my white EK hatch that I built the LS VTEC engine for. I'm going to pull it into the shop here and we're going to get it strapped down onto the dyno, and I'm going to show you some of the issues that it has running and see if we can get it running a little bit smoother. I do have probably about 20 or 30 street miles on the engine so far, and everything seems to be doing really well, but it does idle a little funny and stuff like that with the aftermarket intake manifold. But we did put that LS VTEC engine together for a pretty good deal because I bought the engine with a dropped valve. So it needed a set of pistons and it needed a new cylinder head. So it still has lightweight aftermarket connecting rods. I don't know what rods they are, but we had to cut the small end of the rod to fit the aftermarket pistons that I put in it. So I put some eBay, like, I don't know if they're eBay Type R pistons or whatever. They're like probably 11 or 11.5 to 1 cast pistons with lightweight connecting rods. I don't know what that means, but they're not an H-beam. They're smaller than an H-beam, but they're not stock either. So it's got an ATI damper. I don't know what else. It's got factory dual springs in the head with a set of factory ITR cams. So we'll see what it does on pump gas. Maybe I'll tune it on E85, maybe I won't, but this car is actually up for sale on Facebook Marketplace. I listed it for $7,000, and yeah, it's got GSR transmission, lightweight, competition, clutch and flywheel, and I'm excited to see what it does. We're gonna tune it on Neptune today, I think. Alrighty guys, so I got the white hatch all strapped down on the dyno, ready to do a pull and see what this hack together LS VTEC makes with a set of Type R cams. And I'm tuning it with a Demon 2 Neptune RTP. I had this ECU laying around in my toolbox for quite a while. I figured I'd put it to use in this thing and get familiar with Neptune again, because I would like to start using it more. And I just, right off the bat, I had a chrome file in it prior when I was just driving it on the street, breaking the motor in. And I got a base map on Neptune in the thing, and it already just, it almost just sounds different. It just sounds different. Like it's just like happier. It idles better. I don't know why, because like the idle control stuff is all the same as the other Chrome file, but it just runs better. I don't know why. Sometimes these softwares are, you know, one software with the same tune can run completely different. That's why I tell a lot of guys too, like if you're tuning with HTS, you really kind of got to do a lot of screwing around to get them to run how you really want to. Where it seems like Neptune, a lot easier, a lot more stress-free. So like I said, I might start tuning with this more. I had a hatch back in the day that ran 1050s with an LS VTEC in it, and that was on Neptune. And back in the day when I had a couple other Honda guys drag racing with me, I also tuned a lot of those cars on Neptune, and they never skipped a beat. So I got a wideband sensor in the exhaust. This is just an eBay 421 long header, and this is my wideband that I just have plugged into the battery here with a set of jumper cables for power, and then the sensors down there running into the car. And then my wideband's right there. I'll plug that in, and then I'll have power to a wideband to monitor the air fuel. And then the ECU I got plugged in with the Demon 2 board, and I will plug in the printer cable into here, and then connect to the laptop. I was having some issues connecting to the Neptune at first, because I didn't know you needed an internet connection to verify the serial number or whatever on the Demon board. So once I figured out I needed internet connection, it's the same as Hondata. Some Hondata stuff you need internet connection as well for it to verify or whatever. But yeah, let's do a pull with this thing. It's on pump gas, and we will see what it lays down. All right, what do you guys think this thing's gonna make? 11.5 to 1, I think, pistons, B16 head, LS VTEC, LS bottom end, Type R cams, stock dual springs, and that VTEC or whatever intake manifold with a 70 mil throttle body. Pump fuel, no E85. I'm hoping we see over 200 horsepower. Let's find out. That motor sounds pretty good for reused bearings. Man, this thing absolutely screams. Everything's sounding really healthy with this thing. Holy shit. 217, 147. So it pretty much made the same exact power both runs. But holy crap, guys. I bet you we could lower VTEC just a little bit to get that middle section there ran up good. Holy crap. Yeah, I ran it to 8,400 on the second run, and what? I did not expect this to make that much power. Wow. That sounds unfathomable. What? What? How does that even happen? 217 horsepower B series? Holy shit. This was a balanced, like blueprinted bottom end from King Motorsports that I picked up with a dropped valve. And I reused all the bearings, the rods. I cut the rods. ATI damper. ARP head studs, speed factory gasket, stock injectors, Hunter Tune fuel pump, that eBay intake manifold, GSR transmission with a lightweight flywheel and stuff. Wow, dude. Holy crap. And the tune that I have in it from Neptune, I had, like 2 days ago, I just ran it up on the dyno a few different times, and I got the air fuel dialed in super easily on Neptune, and it just sounds pissed off. Wow, this thing makes a lot of power. Maybe it's higher compression, maybe the head's shaved a bunch, maybe the pump gas is helping, I don't know. Holy crap, dude. Look at that power curve too. Looks amazing. It is too bad that I didn't have I had the Clayton dyno back in the day at the old shop when I had my B20 VTEC. I tried doing a B20 VTEC on my CRX, but that thing like would chew bearings every it would chew crank bearings and rod bearings all the time because I just like chucked it together with stuff that wasn't matched together. That's why when I put this thing together, I'm like, man, professional place put this thing together, that bottom end. And I feel like maybe it just doesn't have a lot of friction in the bottom end. That's why I wanted to reuse the bearings and stuff. Because they set this thing up right. I just swapped pistons in it and a cylinder head. I did have the valves cut and stuff. I don't think that shit matters. Maybe it does. What the hell, man? That is a lot of power on a B series. Wow. And just like revving this thing, it just sounds like it wants to crank power. The long stroke on that LS, I don't know. It's like I said, it's a shame that my poopy brown CRX back in the day, I was never able to dyno that. I wonder what that would have made. 225, 230 maybe? I don't know. Because I would assume on an LS or a 1.8 liter that it would make less power and then like a B20 VTEC, but I don't know, guys. This thing, it might be just one of them factory freaks or one of these freak engines. This thing really makes jam, dude. Holy crap. I don't know if you guys can tell, but this thing just barks. All right, so I also wanted to show you guys that I have the wideband plugged into it, and I built this exhaust. I don't know if I have a picture of it or not. It's just like an eBay 2.5-inch catback with a muffler that I had laying around, and it's like crooked and like not fitting straight. And it's kind of like a full chambered muffler. It sounds kind of raspy. I don't know what it is, but the car's been sitting for like a good 10 minutes with the wideband still plugged into the battery, and it's reading 15, like, still. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. It's kind of a weird thing to think about, but normally when I shut cars off, the wideband will go all the way lean. Like, it's got a lot of oxygen present. But this thing, it seems like the exhaust is like so sealed up because I built it, and I don't have any exhaust leaks, and like the way that the exhaust is ran, I don't know, dude. It's got like an extension pipe that I put on the end of the header. I welded a flex pipe to it. I don't know. It's weird that the wideband isn't going lean. It's like almost holding the exhaust in the piping. And I don't know if it has some weird back pressure thing going on where it's helping the motor. I don't know. But this is unreal power for an LS VTEC with like basic stuff. I don't know what to think, guys. I really don't. And for all the naysayers out there, I'm going to clarify with you guys right now. My dyno does not read any different than a DynoJet 248. I have the same, I did this test a while ago with my S2000. I have, my S2000 was bone stock. I took it down by my buddy Kurt Miller down in Stoughton, Wisconsin, and I put it on his chassis dyno, and we did 3 repeated runs. It made like 200-ish horsepower. I came back, and mine read like, I want to say it was like a couple horsepower high. I manipulated the moment of inertia on the dyno to completely match Kurt's dyno, which is a DynoJet 248. Because I'm like, that's like the industry standard. That's what everybody uses. This is a Dynocom unit with a Your Dyno interface that communicates the roller sensor to the computer that's up on the wall. So I'm just letting you guys know that like this isn't like inflated dyno numbers or anything like that, because I've had numerous people be like, oh, your dyno reads high or whatever, and it's just not the case, guys. Like, I did my due diligence to take a car, same day, same environment, same everything, to make sure my dyno was reading the same as other reputable people in the area. So the numbers you see on this channel, guys, are not some inflated number to brag. If this thing only made 180 horsepower, I'd tell you. All right, guys, so I'm gonna go in the tune now, and I'm going to splash maybe 5 or 7% of fuel in it overall. I'm gonna show you guys what the wideband looks like, because the air fuels are like rock solid right now at like a 12.8. I'm gonna try like a 12.0 or low 12 and see if it picks up or loses power. I don't know where this thing's gonna wanna be for air fuel. I just assumed 12.5 to 13 is probably gonna be optimal. But I will tell you that I spent like 2.5 minutes tuning it on Neptune. I made changes to it and it did exactly what I wanted without any fuss or any like weird, like variance in air fuel, because I get that on a lot of other softwares where I'll be tuning and not Hondata, but like HTS specifically, I'll get a bunch of like weird variation in air fuel from day to day, and it's annoying and it's frustrating. But this thing, like I said, it took me like 2 minutes to tune it, and I'm like, wow, it's like perfect. It's awesome. And I just used like their pre-made files that they have. They'll have like NA, B series with intake manifold cams and whatever. And I just chose one of those, and I had to add, I think I added like 35% of fuel to one of their base files, which was a built NA, B series. And the fact that I had to add like 30 or 35% to this thing just shows how much air it's pumping. Like I said, I'm still literally stumped on why it made so much power, but I don't get it, guys. I don't know, maybe you guys gotta hack some shit together and it makes a bunch of power. All the shit I care about doesn't make shit for power, and all the stuff I just throw together to sell, which honestly, maybe the price just went up on this thing. All right, so we just got Neptune pulled up. I got it plugged in, and we're going to connect USB here, and then we're going to go to download the tune that's in it. Takes a second. Neptune is a little bit slow. It's the only thing I don't like about it, but everything else is awesome. This is the low cam fuel map, high cam fuel map. You can see the wide open section. I just was quick tuning it. It took me 2 minutes. You can see I didn't really smooth out a lot of this stuff down here. There's quite a bit of a jump from this 4.1 column to the 2.5 column. But yeah, I think I'm gonna try to smooth some of this out quick. So the numbers are more gradual going this way. And then I'm going to take the wide open section here and add 7 on the VTEC side. The low cam, I feel like we don't really have to mess with a whole lot. I'm not gonna mess with it, but I'm also gonna go in the parameters here and change the VTEC from 4600, which, by the way, if you didn't know, high load engagement is when you're floored. Low load engagement is if you're like just cruising down the highway. So you usually want to set your low load engagement to something that's higher, so when you're rolling down the highway, if you have like a B16 trans or something like that, you're not constantly in and out of VTEC on the highway. That's a way to do it. But let's change this to 4300 for the high load engagement, and hopefully we can smooth out the section where we had a little bit of a dip. I'll show you guys what the ignition map looks like. It's pretty aggressive, like 30 degrees, 29 degrees. It's honestly probably too much for this thing. There's also like a weird spot through here where it goes 26 to 24, 26 to 27, and then it gradually ramps up once it's way up top. I'm gonna leave the timing alone. We're just gonna do a fuel change here. And we're gonna upload this. Boom. And I'm gonna show you the rev limiter is at 8,800 right now. Haven't spun it that high yet, but maybe we'll get her close this time. I think we spun it to 8,500 or something the last time. But yeah, so we'll get this thing fired up. Man, it just runs so good. You can see now, yeah, widebands are reading once I start it, but I shut it off and the air fuel just doesn't move. It's weird. I wouldn't doubt if there's some magic in this piece of crap exhaust I built. And the data log on Neptune, you hit this button right here, and then we have a gauge window right here that we can see our air fuel and stuff. I don't have the TPS calibrated, so it's reading -2, but yeah, 135 degree temp. We're gonna wait till that gets till about 150, and we're gonna floor it, see what it does. And I'm gonna show you guys what the air fuel looks like on the wideband. Got my keyboard here to engage the logger on the dyno. Get it up in third gear. We're at 152 degrees. So we should be able to do a pull. We're going to engage the dyno here. Let's see what it does. Hope this thing doesn't have an oil pressure issue. It's immediately where my mind goes when VTEC engages really high. Let's see what the where's parameters here. All right. God, that fucking, I'm so thankful for that. Thank you, Jesus. The minimum coolant temp is 160 for VTEC, and VTEC didn't engage until the coolant temp hit 160. So that dyno pull we just did was prior to hitting 160, and it hit 160 way up top once the RPM got going. So it seemed like VTEC was engaging really high, which would indicate like an oil pressure issue or something. But let's try it again. We'll do one more here. Whew, I'm so thankful for that. That it was just a setting in the tune. Yeah, because the air fuel was going lean. I'm like, man, I richened it. What the heck? Let's try it again. I'm not changing anything on the tune. You guys still see the air fuel. There we go. Yeah, the air fuel was a lot better that time. You could see it went rich on the crossover, but sometimes like the wideband will do weird stuff like that if it's got a change in cam profile. Sometimes it'll do stuff like that. But for the most part, air fuel is like rock solid. It was like a 12.3 or something. But let's see what it did for power. It's so funny that previous run that the coolant temp wasn't warmed up. I can see it from here. It doesn't look good. So this green line was when the coolant temp wasn't up to snuff, and that's why VTEC engaged at a different spot. And we made considerably less power adding fuel. So I'm gonna pull that fuel back out. I'm gonna actually pull more. So I added 7% to the VTEC side. I'm going to pull 10. So it'll be pulling 3 from where it made 217. So I'm gonna pull 10 on the VTEC side, maybe try to clean up that crossover a little bit and see if I can get it a little bit better. And we'll try again. Maybe we can hit like 220. That'd be cool. All right, guys, I'm putting you behind the car so maybe you can hear the exhaust. I pulled 10% and tried to clean up the crossover area. wow, this thing really screams. Well, we're back up to 217. It made 217.8, which is the most power it's made. Prior, the best run was 217.03. So that run made 217.8. And yeah, revved at the highest. I'm probably gonna put some fuel back in it, just a couple percent on the high cam, because that was like a 13.4 air fuel. It seems to like to run around there, you know, in the 13.0 area. But I think I'm gonna splash some fuel in it and maybe pull a degree or two of timing out of it, because it's at 30 degrees. I don't know, maybe I should just put some injectors in this thing and tune it on corn. I bet you we could hit 220 on corn. But I don't know if it's worth converting it to E85 for just a couple horsepower. Every engine responds differently to E85. Most of the time it won't hurt power, but sometimes there's some magic in pump gas with the octane and stuff like that. Sometimes you can over octane an engine and it can actually hurt power. I've learned that with the Groms. Sometimes running pump gas on like a tight wound motor actually is beneficial on some stuff. Or maybe we throw a set of 2200s in this thing and tune it on nitro. Try to make like 300 horsepower. No. Anybody want to donate some nitro fuel? Let me know. But that's probably going to be it, guys. Almost 218 horsepower on an LS VTEC with pretty cookie cutter stuff. eBay distributor. Who knows, that thing's probably giving me 45 degrees of timing. That's why it's making so much power. I doubt it. But yeah. That's awesome. This thing runs great. It sounds amazing. It's a little raspy, but just the bark of this LS VTEC is something I'm pretty proud of. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a great night and a better tomorrow. And God bless. We'll see you later.